Okay, this is a mission video part 2.
Okay, so at this point, you have your face and sides and your bottom and back cut out, and now you are ready to score. So you should have a toothpick. I would not advise scoring with a knife because it's gonna be too bulky and you're not gonna get good scoring. So on the longer piece, the piece that has the front and the sides, you are going to score from this top corner down the side, all the way across the bottom and up this side to this other corner. And you are going to make sure that your score marks are coming off the edge. I don't want them floating up in the air like this. That's not going to help you. You want them down, coming off the edge of your clay. If you like coming from the bottom up and then crossing over, however you want to do it, just make sure you're breaking that smooth surface so that the clay can hold hands. That's what we're doing here. We're giving the clay fingers to hold hands. So you're going to come all the way down and then all the way up and back. So now you have hash marks, scores, waffle marks, whatever you want to call them, tic-tac-toe, all the way from one corner down, across the bottom and back up. Now on your bottom and back, it's going to be different. You're not going to do it on the top here. You're going to do it around the edge here, because this edge and this edge is going to touch here and here. So you're only going to do 3 sides, 2 long sides, 1 short. So you're going to come like this, all the way across, then along 1 short side, and then along the other long side. So you have 2 long sides, 1 short side.
So on this piece, you're actually doing this edge.
The edge and not on
here,
top.
you're doing the top of the clay.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is why I was saying it might be good to have this written up on the board, because kids do get confused. It's confusing. I get it. So you just want to reiterate as much as possible, because you have to think about where things are touching.
Because the hashtags are going to touch each other.
Exactly. It's like Velcro. They're going to, Velcro or zippers or something, they're going to come together. They're going to hold hands like that. So then you're going to take your 1 finger of water, which we talk about, right, kids? Right. 1 finger. And we're going to tap. We are not going to rub, because rubbing will make it smooth again. And we just spent all that time breaking the smooth surface. So tapping and tapping. All this does is make it extra sticky so that when you push it together, the clay can kind of smoosh into itself and really hold on. So now you're going to position, you want the hash marks on the short side. You are going to take them and you are going to line this short side up with the front design of your mission face. And here, I'll do it sideways so you can see. So I just stand it up and I kind of push from the front and from the back. I'm pushing with this hand, I'm pushing in on the bottom, and with this hand I'm pushing towards the center to make even pressure. Then I'm gonna wrap, I'll do this side first. I'm gonna wrap this around like this and do the same thing. I'm pushing from the outside and from the inside and kind of smushing it together. Now I'm not pushing down, because if you push down, you're just gonna push it into your board. I'm trying to push it over and in. And now I'm gonna wrap this side around and do the same thing. I'm pushing from the outside and from the bottom, and I'm pushing them together. Now, see how there's hash marks here still and on the other side? Now is when you fold the back up and those 2 areas meet. All right, so now you've got all of your pieces connected. Now, to make sure these are really sealed, you may again take 1 finger. You don't want too much, because if it gets too sloppy and sticky, it's gonna stick to your board and not be released properly. But then you can come around with your finger and you can smooth out any edges that you kind of probably mooked up with your fingernails, because, moving clay around gets messy. And you smooth all these seams. Make sure they're really stuck together, because when the clay dries, it's going to want to pop apart. So the more that you have them kind of stuck together, the more likely it's going to stay that way. Now, it may be kind of difficult to get it up. So if you can't, you can call for an adult. But the best way I have found is to take from the back wall and peel up, because the back wall is essentially attached to the floor, so it's not going to peel off. And there you have a mission. Now you might be asking, how do I get my name on this? It's a very good question. If you feel up to it, you can turn it over and you can write your name, the room number, and the year. Boom. If that doesn't work, if you don't feel like it's stable enough for you to flip it over, you can write it on the back wall here. Okay. Now, I have shown you this without putting any windows, doors, any decoration. This is the basic mission. Different teachers will have different expectations. Some teachers, I just did not want holes cut out. They were allowed to draw on by scoring. You can do that if the children or the teacher allow for holes for the windows and the doors and things like that. You want to do that before you attach your walls. Now, the thing to be aware of when you're putting holes in,
just to double check. So if you're making cutting out windows or doing scoring, you want to do that before you put the mission together.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing to be aware of though is when you're cutting holes out, you're essentially messing with the structural integrity of the walls, especially if it's not an even piece of clay. I'm going to move this aside so you can see here. I'll show you here. All right. Do a little bit thinner. And okay, I will do one of these quick ones so you can see. Oops, that's not even. That is thick right there. Okay, so you can cut this guy out. Okay. Oops, I didn't cut all the way through there. All right, so if you were gonna do one that was standing up, you decide which side is your front. I think that one looks nicer, so I'll make this my front. So if you're going to do a window, you're gonna cut all the way through and pull it out. However, every time you add a negative space, your wall gets a little bit less stable. I would say windows are okay, don't do doors. It's just really tricky because then you have negative space where you're supposed to be attaching your walls. So I think that if you're gonna do that, then you can score the front. Let's say, I'll draw a door. Kind of looks like a face. Maybe I'll draw some vines. Because when you paint these, you can also do some of these decorative accents with the glaze. Okay, we'll do some more vines up here, because why not? Vines like to grow in buildings, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then maybe I'll draw some windows over here. There's a ledge. Is that what windows look like? I don't know. Mm-hmm. And maybe a big window here. Yeah, I feel like shim. All right, here's another ledge. All right, and maybe do some marks here, and I'll paint that as like grass or something. Now, this is gonna be my front, so I would flip it over and do my hash marks along the edge. Here, here, here. Bing, 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 bing. And then you do your water, stand it up, and you'd attach it. But remember, if your clay is too thin and you put holes in, it's just gonna droop down and flop over. You don't want that. So at the end, make sure their names and room number and year are on there somewhere legibly. Put them in the drying boxes, and these need to dry for about 3 weeks. If there are absent kids, do some for the absent kids unless the teacher really wants to do a makeup session with them, and always try to do at least 2 extras in case you have any casualties in the kiln. And then when you're all done, have the kids clean up their station, collect and wrap up any extra clay, put it back in the bag, close up the bag, load up your cart, and wheel out. And that's your mission.